Greetings, YouTube. I hope this is properly framed. I got a new monitor today, and don't know if I've quite got the camera tweaked the way I want it. It's a 27-inch. It's much larger. It's kind of entertaining. My last one kind of started to slowly die on me, so it was time to get another one. I am a fan of Samsung monitors, a Samsung phone for that matter too. That's what I've got for my phone. So in 2020, the FBI had some 6,300 referrals to take firearms away from people who had failed a background check. I'm baffled by that. Why am I baffled by that? Okay. At one time, my wife worked for the Girl Scouts. And in the event I wanted to volunteer to help her, I had to have a background check done. And I did, and I passed. Um, and I wouldn't be allowed to engage in volunteer activities with the Girl Scouts until I passed the background check, which only seems prudent that before you put someone in front of, children, you make sure that they're considered to be suitable and safe, or at least as far as the law is concerned. Um, and that seems to be the way you should do things. You have someone take a background check. Once they pass the check, they get to do whatever it is they had the background check for, whether it's working in security or working as a volunteer or buying a firearm. So why is it that people are allowed to buy firearms before their background check has confirmed that they are not a felon or have had a red flag against them because of domestic violence allegations? Um, why do we do it that way? Now, I know what you're going to say, Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment absolutists drive me insane, because right before the Second Amendment is the First Amendment. And to my mind, the most important amendment we've got. There's a reason it's number one, and it's the freedom of speech clause in there. But we have, over the course of, centuries, changed the rules about speech. Speech is not absolute. Libel laws, slander laws, um, sedition laws, you can't yell fire in a movie theater, that kind of thing. We have laws that curtail free speech, where the government can come around and say, you can't actually say that, because if you say that, you're going to get in trouble, both you know civil and quite possibly criminal. And that makes perfect sense. We have put reasonable, prudent limits on speech. So why shouldn't we have reasonable, prudent limits on firearms? And one of those is that since we live in a modern era, we can do background checks on people. We should be doing that. And once they pass them, then they should be allowed to purchase a firearm. I also believe that we should also ban all semi-automatic firearms completely, totally. No sales, no manufacturer, no import, no export, no trading, no nothing. You have a firearm, the only way it's going to get to anybody's hands is if you leave it to them in your will. That's it. I also believe that parents should be responsible for the use of their firearms by anyone other than the people who it's registered to. That all firearms should be registered. So if you get your firearm stolen, you better report it real darn quick, or you're going to be on the hook for it. And that seems to be also prudent to me. So why is it that we let people just willy-nilly purchase firearms? The reason is because the NRA is really good at bribing politicians. Don't talk to me about campaign funds or things like that. No, they're bribes. It's bribery. The NRA has purchased lock, stock, and barrel hundreds of politicians over the span of uh, decades and across our country from sea to shining sea. Um, and it's terrible. It's horrible. It is vile. Because of those bribes, we have stood back and quite willingly, apparently, just accepted that you can be gunned down for being in a store. You can be gunned down for walking down the street. or attending a concert, or going to a church, or being a child in your own school, that we just accept that. If we can curtail reasonably speech, why can't we curtail reasonably firearms? And I think one of the brightest things we could do is make sure somebody passes a background check thoroughly and completely before we let them buy a firearm. Doesn't doesn't that make some kind of sense?